Good morning. Safe Haven here. I normally post these videos on my way to work in the morning. It's about the only time I have. I'm normally on the go all the time, so it's hard for me to sit still and get anything done. So I've got a little bit of a ride to work, about 30 minutes. So I was going to speak this morning. Made a couple other videos that I posted on YouTube. Just some things that I have on my mind. 6:20 in the morning, April, and it's 37 degrees in April, which is very unusual. I can't ever remember it being this cold in April. Normally we start to get into the warmer weather this time. But I've been having some thoughts racing through my mind as of late. I'm going to use the word twin flame. I'm not much on putting labels on things. Man has to put label on things. I guess that's just how we are. But I'm sure there are some who have heard the word twin flame or twin soul or one soul and two bodies. The idea of that is God creates two people with the same energy and soul and spirit. At birth, separated, and you go through life getting trials and tribulations thrown at you and tests, and eventually two of you will meet after life, normally leading up to that meeting or union or whatever you want to call it. You'll have some things going through your head. Normally, with me, in my case, it was almost like giving up, or not giving up like on life, but more or less giving up on love. I never really knew what love was. I was never raised with love, or to show love, or to be loved. I hate to say that, we have parents, and we have family, and we have loved ones. Certain generations that they are brought up in could be the same way. They weren't loved. They pass that on to the next generation. But I wasn't around a whole lot of love. Married, got myself into a relationship with a narcissist, and of course I didn't realize it at first, but her true colors started to come out after my son was born. Things started to go downhill instead of uphill. The relationship didn't get stronger, it got worse. And I was being taken advantage of on a daily basis, and me being a Heyoka empath, or just an empath in general, I gave and gave and gave. That's just who I am. I don't know any other way. People say that you can change, but I couldn't change. It just, in my mind, just doesn't work that way. I want to make people happy. That's my whole purpose in life, I feel, as an empath. You're loving, and I was an immature empath, but I got myself out of that relationship, and those thoughts racing through my head of not a loving family, and then meeting a wife, and really not being shown any love from her either, And of course, you know, me not being loved, it wasn't like that was something part of my DNA. I mean, it was me, love, but not being shown it, not really feeling it. And that's pretty sad now that I think about it. I look back at my life and not really knowing what love felt like from an individual or another person. And then I got out of that relationship with my wife. I don't hate my wife. She taught me a lot of lessons and only made me more stronger, more wiser. And I remember thinking in my head that love was something made up in a movie or a song. It wasn't real. I believed that love was a mental disorder, not really a real thing. It was just like a mental disorder, like being bipolar or schizophrenic or PTSD or whatever mind-controlling things there are out there, sicknesses, diagnoses. And I didn't really believe in it. And I got this feeling and these thoughts. And I was working as a cashier at a local grocery store. Still there, by the way. I have 2 jobs. That's my weekend job. But this customer came in, and actually I wasn't working that day. I was a customer myself, and I was in the aisle doing my grocery shopping, and I met this lady. And I'm a loner. I don't go around just randomly stopping and talking to people. But I don't know what it was. I think back, I don't really remember. We just started to talk. I started to talk to her. And we talked, and I don't remember exactly what we talked about. She remembers more about it than I do. We went on our way and was back at the grocery store working, and then she came in through my line. She had a lot of products that she had purchased, and I was speaking to her about all their products that she had purchased, and it's not something else that I would discuss. And it was obvious that she had other people that were involved in her life, children and a husband. The conversation was not sexual. It was not anything that was inappropriate. Just regular conversation. And we talked, and it was a very good, friendly conversation. It was very, what's the word? It seemed like there was a lot of freedom in our conversation, if that's possible, if that's a word to describe it. A lot of openness. Really strange. I always describe when I talk to people, or if I connect to people through meditation or whatever the case may be, that I can always tell when somebody has the door slightly opened, closed, or fully opened. With her, it was completely opened, almost like her arms were open, ready for a hug, but not necessarily, not literally. So, she left, and she came back, and I was in my cashier spot, and I saw her come in. She actually tapped me on the shoulder as she walked behind me and said hey to me, and I said hey. And she did her shopping, and I could remember there was a few people in my line, and she had walked by a couple times waiting for my line to get shorter, eventually coming back into my line, and we got to talking again, and we exchanged social media information. And she went on her way, and we immediately started to message each other. Friendly conversation. Nothing out of the ordinary, just being friends, just talking about life, family, whatever the case may be. And we eventually exchanged phone numbers. And it was clear that she had some friends. She actually had some really close friends. And the conversation was really strange. Not strange like we talked about weird things. It was just how open we were to each other. I remember when I first met her, and that first time, that there was a lot of familiarity with her. It was very strange, almost like I had known her prior to that meeting. And there was a lot of familiarity around her and her family. A lot of things were very familiar with that. That whole situation was really strange. And we exchanged phone numbers, still talking. She's married. Nothing inappropriate whatsoever, just the friendly conversations that we would have about life. And I was telling her about things I was experiencing, things I had experienced in life as far as supernatural goes or spiritually goes. I was raised religious. I'm not religious, but I was raised that way. And speaking to her about how I felt, how I could feel things from people, how I could see things that were invisible to the normal person, apparitions and spirits and demons and angels, how I could see these things. And she studied psychology, so she was a major in psychology, so I guess she was a psychiatrist, but not paid as a psychiatrist, but she could have been a psychiatrist. So, us talking and her analyzing and doing her research as we were speaking. I didn't know it, and I didn't actually know my gift when we first met. I didn't know that I was an empath. I knew that I was gifted, and even prior to us meeting, I knew that there was something different with me. And the word psychic medium had been circling around in my head a few times, because I knew that I could see spirits. I could see spirits, and she came up with this word, empath. And of course, I started doing my research. I never really have been much on research. I always went by a feeling and my intuition. That's what I've gone by. And she told her husband about me. I met a guy, friends. That's all. Nothing out of the ordinary. He didn't really much care. He was involved with his work. He was always on the go. He was always working. He did a lot of work at home, and a lot of our conversations were while he was at home, and we would talk all day from morning to evening. It's probably over 300 text messages in a day, and never nothing inappropriate. Me being Heyoka, I feel your emotions, even through text messages and your words, through messages. I know your intentions. I can tell your expressions on your face. I can tell what kind of mood you're in just by your words. And I gave her what she wanted, and she wanted to be friends, and I was fine with that. I was okay with that. So we became friends, and I invited her to my job. My other job, not the cashier job. And she came and hung out with me at my job. And really strange. Now that I think back about it, it's been almost a couple years now that this has happened. But she'd come to my job, and she actually invited me to her home. He wasn't there at the time, but it was her and the kids and her nanny, live-in nanny. And I hung out with them for a little while there, and we talked, and nothing inappropriate. We knew in our heads that there was nothing going on. Of course, her husband didn't like the idea that I went over there, but we assured him that nothing was going on. So they eventually invited me back over to their home again, and they had a little bit of a family get together, and I got invited to it. Really strange. I had met one of my twins, I don't want to mention her name, my twins' friends that had cancer. She had been through a lot of chemo, and she was having a lot of issues. Young lady. And so that's a different story with her. Her name was Crystal. But everything was pretty intense when I first met her husband, obviously so. I could feel his tension and his curiosity of why his wife is talking to another man. Like I said, he didn't really much care, but she did let him know that she was coming over to my job and we were hanging out. He liked the idea that she had a friend. Him and I talked, actually. He had called me on the phone, and he wanted to make me aware that this is how it's going to be between you two, and it's not going to go any further than that, obviously. So, mind you, the way I was with her was not me. I'm a loner, and I like my solitude. Always have. And her being the same way, that she would never find herself into a relationship with another man, being married. And I don't mean relationship like that, but as a friendship relationship. She had other friends, and she always said that our friendship was completely different from the rest. I remember her calling me a unicorn all the time, because I was a very rare person. She had never met anybody like me. And so, yeah, we were meeting. I remember it was my birthday, and she met me at Starbucks early in the morning before I went to work. And after I was made aware of my gift, I started doing research on that aspect of it, and things started to happen. Once I learned my gift, I started to tie into it, started to connect to it, and I started to becoming a lot more aware of things, my emotions and feelings of others, energies. I started becoming very wise in what do they call it? Not the IQ, but the spiritual Q, SQ, or whatever you want to call it. We were hanging out Starbucks, and I remember speaking with her. She was sitting next to me, and I could see that her pupils were very dilated, and normally that's an indication that when a person is speaking to you and their pupils are dilated, they are attracted to you, so their pupils will dilate so they can get as much as you in as they can. And I noticed that. I didn't say anything at the time, but she went her way. We did our little meeting, and nothing out of the ordinary, nothing inappropriate. We speak on God and books and spirituality. And we went our way, and I sent her a text message and told her what I saw and what it meant, and she didn't deny it. So I had made it aware of what I saw. And we had met a few other times, come to my job, we hung out. She was hugging me, not something that I was used to. I didn't think much about it. I knew what I felt. I didn't think much about it, though. A lot of people, especially women, they can be attracted to a man, even sexually attracted to a man, and they want to keep that to themselves. They don't want to allow it. They don't think that most people know that they see that or feel that. I can feel when a woman is attracted to me or sexually attracted to me. I can feel that energy. It's very, very strong energy. Sexual energy is a very strong energy. Attracting energy is a very strong energy. Loving energy is a very strong energy. It actually puts off a certain vibration, a certain physical feeling. I can feel anger, sadness, all that stuff actually puts off a certain feeling. It makes me feel a certain way. It's very obvious. It's very apparent, very painful. Sometimes it can be very painful. So, they don't expect a man to know those things. They want to keep it to themselves. Well, I see it and I feel it, and I don't really say it. I keep it to myself. Your secrets are safe with me. So, I didn't feed into it. I knew she was married, and it's a normal thing for a woman to be attracted to another man, even being married. Just don't proceed with it. We all got thoughts. We're all human beings. We all have feelings. We just don't need to feed on that. We need to be respectful in our marriage and to our spouse. But if you're not happy in your relationship, then you need to consider other alternatives. You've gotten yourself into a situation that you don't need to be in, and you need to figure out a way out. Either make your relationship stronger, figure out what you need to do, or go your separate ways. There's no sense in living your life unhappy. So I'm probably going to continue this video in another part, but I'm getting ready to get to work. There's a lot more to this than what I've said. This is just merely the beginning of her and I twin flame journey. Like I said, I'm not much on labels, but if there was going to be a label, it would be the twin flame or twin soul label involved with this. But yeah, so we did our thing. It was a very strange relationship between her and I, and it was great. I mean, it was, like I said, it was nothing I'd ever experienced before. I had never really had a true friend, a real friend, and her and I were like best friends. I mean, it was really strange how we connected. It was almost like our DNA was one. It was well, literally, twin flames are like the same person. You had the same emotions, the same feelings. That's why that familiarity is. You're pretty much looking in the mirror as far as soul goes, not physical, but spiritual. So, yeah. So I'm going to continue this conversation at another time, and hope you guys have a good day, and I'll speak to you later.